Welcome to Clean Tech TV. My name is Giles Parkinson. Today we're joined by Bob Dixon. Can you give us some idea of what the major trends are in energy efficiency? I mean, how much of a top-of-mind issue is this for governments and corporates around the world?
This is the best of times. I've been at the efficiency and sustainability game for an awful long time. And for the very first time, I think it has reached very much top of mind, certainly in governments for a number of reasons. Not only the concern about the climate, but a lot of green jobs are being created, but also on the top of business leaders' minds around the world. And for a number of reasons. Our studies show literally in the last couple of years, we're talking shifts of 20% of higher acknowledgement that having a strong portfolio, making your buildings efficient, sustainable, is good for business. It clearly can be a differentiator. And so we see over the last number of years gaining momentum on many different fronts, whether it be, making their own processes more efficient, working with clients, helping employees. I see trends from students and new employees. They want to work for companies and governments that really are taking a stand on sustainability. It's amazing to watch the shift going on. I think it's the best of times. I wish I was 25 years younger so I could enter it again.
So can you give us some idea of some of the technologies that are happening right now and some of the technologies which are really taking hold or even some of these sort of dream technologies that people are considering for the future?
Yeah, I think there's some really interesting things going on. We certainly hear all about solar and wind and things like that. What's fascinating to me from those technologies, we're starting to see them be built into the fabric, to the design of buildings. So we are seeing solar panels that used to be sort of, you put a couple of solar panels on your roof, I was green. Now it's part of the integral design. I see wind turbines, in some cases even mounted on the horizontal, that are being designed into buildings. And that's helping the building portfolio, the new building portfolios, transition into a more net zero energy framework. They're not there yet. It's going to take some while. So I clearly see that just everywhere I turn. I'm starting to see more with energy storage. Energy and energy efficiency is a fuel in and of itself. We know that great strides can be taken forward to helping reduce our carbon footprint if more people would in fact adopt energy efficiency, as part of their normal business. Now, some people are going to do it for cost. Some people are going to do it because it's the right thing to do for the climate. There are a whole variety of reasons to do it. But the one that people don't talk about as often is the idea of energy security. And one of the things that on-site energy creation and storage can do is bring a higher level of reliability and security to a building's operation. It wasn't that many years ago that there was a brownout, a blackout in the northeast part of the United States. It only happened, for a couple of days. The economic impact was $82 billion. But you think of today's, and you think of some of the natural disasters you've been suffering there in Australia. I mean, just unprecedented. And if you're a hospital or you're a business or you're a school, how do you continue your basic operation if you have no power?
So, Bob, you're heading down to Australia at the end of the month to speak at the Clean Tech Forum. What is your main message going to be to the audience there?
People don't realize that buildings consume 40% of the world's energy, and they contribute 21% of the greenhouse gases. And those are the buildings that are already built. And so a lot of attention in Australia through the Neighbours programs and around the world focus on a lot of the new buildings. And new buildings will be built to higher standards. My challenge as a businessman for the clean tech providers of the world is we need to find commercially available, cost-effective technologies to put into existing buildings to help them take the step forward they need to from a technology standpoint to be more efficient. For all of those buildings, it's not going to be effective to knock them all down and rebuild them. You imagine the impact to the environment if you do that. So we have to take the building stock and keep upgrading it. So I'm looking for things. Are there different window technologies that can be employed to make things more efficiency? Roofing technologies, energy storage, on-site generation. I've always wanted to have the micro turbines take natural gas or even synthetic gas, use it to create electricity, take the waste heat and stuff. Nobody's ever come up with one that's really viable from an economic standpoint to allow that technology to be placed inside of buildings. And it's hard to understand why. They always tend to be pilot projects in utilities. Well, guess what? That isn't really getting to some of the building stock we need. So my message is going to be around, we can do something today. We don't have to wait for the smart grid. We don't have to wait for carbon sequestration. We don't have to wait for things that are 5, 10, 15, 20 years off. There are great economic opportunities and great things that can be done right now, but we just need a little focus on some products and some technologies here today. And so to your venture capital folks that are sitting there, I know where I'd spend my money, because right now there's going to be a lot of money available to be spent in that space in the next 5 to 10 years, and it's not waiting 20 years from now for a new technology to be invented that, in fact, may or may not work. So it's going to be very, very focused on, I need their help to help me make an impact now. We can't wait 10 years.
Well, Bob, we look forward to hearing that message, and we wish you a good trip down under, and we look forward to seeing you.
It should be a great time. I'm looking very much forward to seeing everybody and meeting you in person.